Rapper 50 Cent is attacking Terry Crews for not being a real man.
I have seen my husband put people on the floor.
Just muscles everywhere.
But 50 got shot 9 times and survived.
I'ma your life up for fun.
It's impossible to be more manly than me.
Then why is 50 calling him out for backing down when he was assaulted?
Questioning why he didn't defend himself while his wife stood next to him.
And she said, "I'm done. I don't know who you are."
Everything was a lie.
You didn't do anything, you didn't push him off.
He was like, "No one's ever gonna believe you."
Called me weak. You're not a man.
He froze like he was afraid.
Anybody got a problem with that? You can come see me.
But is 50 Cent right about Terry?
People mocked him with this whole situation.
God gave you muscles so you can say no.
He don't even seem like a tough guy no more.
And people say, "Well, you should just forget it." No, I'm not gonna forget it.
Now Terry is hitting back, exposing 50 Cent.
You want to talk about manliness? His family is never there with him. He's always by himself.
He doesn't have a relationship with his son. He doesn't have any friends.
But he also has nothing to lose.
I'm gonna make it so his mouth can't work. He just wants to see you suffer.
50 Cent took a shot at you.
It's over.
Yeah, I kill him in front of everybody.
Why didn't he fight back?
One of my earliest memories was my father knocking my mother out.
My mother's on the ground. The example of manliness that I have to look up to is towering over her and all of us. I'm 4 years old and I can't do anything.
I would wake up to screaming, wake up to glass breaking, shouting, and I just wanted peace, man.
Terry swore he'd never end up like his dad, but as he got older and stronger, he used his physical strength to dominate the people around him.
I truly believe I was worth more than my wife and kids. I was ice cold. I'm the man. I run this. You better do as I say.
Former NFL linebacker, 6'3", 240 pounds, just muscles everywhere.
I have seen my husband put people on the floor because people want to test the big guy.
But one night when he was attacked, Terry shocked the world with his reaction.
In 2016, while at a party with my wife, I was sexually assaulted by a successful Hollywood agent.
And he looked me in my eyes and he was sticking his tongue out overtly sexually. He takes his right hand and grabs my genitals and I'm jumping like, "Hey, what are you doing?" The way he looked at me, he was like, "No one's ever gonna believe you."
Men everywhere wanted to know why a guy like him hadn't fought back. And the leader of the backlash was 50 Cent.
50 Cent mocking Terry.
Belittled Crews, questioning why he didn't defend himself.
Terry Crews is like the Hulk. This guy's like huge. I just couldn't get how he froze like he was afraid.
God gave you muscles so you can say no. Ain't nobody just gonna grab my nuts without getting punched.
And why didn't he fight back?
6 years before his assault, Terry's family left him when his wife discovered a secret he'd been hiding for 10 years.
My wife, over the years, she was always suspicious.
I started to hammer him with questions. And all of a sudden, he starts coming out of his skin with these confessions. 10 years ago, I did this. 13 years ago, I did this.
And when I told my wife, I heard this gasp, and she said, "I'm done. I don't know who you are." And I was like, "Fine, leave." And she left. I remember her hanging up the phone and said, "Don't come home." And then there I was by myself. I remember in this hotel room. There it is. It's over.
What did he do?
I had went to a massage parlor and cheated on her.
You never run out of people to blame.
Terry thought he could get away with whatever he wanted because he was providing for his family.
I was very successful. You talking rich, famous, popular, and I'm like, what she has to complain about? It's a good life.
It's not enough for a man to just be a provider financially and then use that as an excuse to be absent.
And you're successful, you feel like that buys you a pass. But then a small voice came to me and said, maybe it's me. What I presented to my wife was an image. I was lying the whole time. But she wasn't married to the real Terry Crews. She was married to the picture.
You saw him acknowledge that he had to change some things here.
I did not go to rehab to get my wife back. I went there because I needed to be a better person.
He put the money where his mouth was, and he went to see a counselor.
Eventually, Rebecca did choose to come back. I had to earn it. Me and my wife rebuilt our marriage, literally from the ground up. I know how close I came to losing it all.
But when he was assaulted, he had to choose whether to react with violence like he used to or show that he'd really changed.
the first reaction was to be violent. And I immediately held back.
You're a big, powerful man. Why didn't you?
As a black man in America, you only have a few chances to make yourself a viable member of the community. I have seen many, many young black men who were provoked into violence, and they were in prison or they were killed.
Sometimes you're a product of your environment. At one point you have to say, no, wait a minute, and I don't want to be that type of man.
Terry opened up about his experience, speaking at the U.S. Senate as an advocate for sexual assault survivors.
As I shared my story, I was told over and over that this was not abuse, that this was just horseplay. But I can say that one man's horseplay is another man's humiliation.
What kind of man would I be to tell my kids if someone touches you where you don't want to be touched, tell someone, and then I don't do it?
50 Cent attacked Terry for not being a real man, but he wasn't being the man his family needed either.
50 Cent has been estranged from his eldest son for over 10 years.
I don't have a relationship.
Everything he promised, going to take him to basketball games, I'm going to take him on vacation. He hasn't done any of that.
It's never been about the money for me. It's more so the relationship.
If you love yourself, I used to. You ask yourself, how long can you love something that don't love you back?
Terry showed what it means to be a real man, and he even offered love to 50 Cent instead of fighting.
I love 50 Cent. I listen to his music while I'm working out.
By using his voice instead of violence, Terry showed what true strength can look like.
Strength is not about picking things up and throwing people around. The strength comes from standing up for the weak. It's admitting you have a problem. It's admitting that you need help.
When you're a man, you think that masculinity is the opposite of vulnerability, right?
Because that pride, that manliness, the hypermasculinity, it's not real. True manhood is beautiful.